Oh, yeah.
Oh shit, here we go.
What better way to test FSD than driving a little Uber Eats? Uh, FSD and Uber Eats, here we go. This one's going to be way more FSD than Uber Eats. And right away, I want to show right here. You see this yellow light? This is becoming a real problem with the latest version of FSD. These are literally neck breaker settings. When you're cruising straight like this and that light turns yellow, FSD jams on the brakes. I've had it to the point where it chirps the tires, and it is absolutely neck breaking. So if you see flying through yellow lights and stop signs, that's me on the gas pedal just doing a little nudge. So here we go. You can see the deceleration and I'm like, fuck. Hopefully they'll dial it in. Here we got our first order. It's a shop and pay Target, $8.50, low mileage, so we take it. And here we're coming out of Target. I just love how, you know, the FSD creeps and it starts to commit before the last car's even through. Here we go. There's the last car. It's already moving. And the way that it just launches is so awesome. And then we got to make a left up here. So just crossing 3 lanes, just like a human would do, just totally automatically. Very impressive. This situation is really cool because you got what is a kind of tight squeeze here, right? You got this garbage dumpster sitting in the street, right? And then you get this dumpster sitting in the street. And then add to that a car coming right through. And this is one of these situations in the old days where FSD would kind of freak out and just sort of jam on the brakes. But this V12 does a phenomenal job just squeezing these gaps. Take a look. I mean, it didn't slow down at all. It knew there was space. I mean, it's just really impressive. Here we are coming into the Meraki Grill. I got a huge catering order going downtown. And, you know, just the way it comes into the parking lot's awesome. I mean, this car totally jumps in front of us. And instead of, you know, FSD freaking out and jamming on the brakes, it just keeps a nice, smooth pace. And do a little fast forward here. We're going to come up, a Corvette's going to be trying to cut into the lane, and I disconnect because it's just kind of FSD being a dick, not yielding, even though, you know, he definitely made a move to get into the lane where he didn't see us. So here it is. There's the Corvette. You can see he's got his blinker on, wiggles in, jerks back. And so, you know, a human, I mean, a human, you know, would have a little courtesy and they would back off. So that's the reason for that disengagement or disconnection, intervention, whatever you call it. Also notice, and we're dropping off Greek food.
You guys order a bunch of Greek? Hell yeah, player.
All right, here's really good. So we're going west on Charleston, crossing under the 15, and it's a big construction zone.
I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with music or band stuff or whatever. This is how we always get started. But there is an underground.
And you can see there's this truck towing a trailer full of junk, right?
Windmill. I thought you said like wood. No.
And so here the trailer's getting on the brakes. He's going to make a move left. And FSD just effortlessly slides right by. I mean, it was making me nervous. It was almost a disconnect. But FSD did a really good job here, I think. I don't know. See what you think. Very human-like, you know, really cutting it close. All right, this next one is crazy. So, all right, we're rolling down Charleston, right? We're just going west on Charleston. I have no navigation endpoint punched into the system, so we're just cruising FSD straight down a busy street, and it'll go like that forever, you know, until you take over or until you punch a nav point in. But here, it does something very interesting, something that I've never had happen before. Check it out. Watch the navigation. Watch the speed. Here's the blinker. Blinker comes on. I'm like, what's going on? It wants to make a right. I'm totally distracted with the Uber Eats app. And here, it just, for some reason, wants to turn into the Metro PCS out of nowhere. It's got a mind of its own. Out of nowhere, it just starts slowing down. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm looking at the Uber Eats app. I see the nav path. I'm like, why are we turning into Metro PCS? And this is great. This is a really human-like emergent behavior, if you ask me. Now, some people will call this sort of a mistake. I mean, it could be either one. What I think this is sort of like a human-like response. This car, FSD knows it's slowing down, and it's probably predicting it to do something, make a move one way or the other. And so it starts to initiate a lane change. It starts to go, and then as this car slides over, it realizes, oh, okay, no, I can still camp in the fast lane, which, if you know FSD, it loves to camp in the fast lane. Here's just a great shoot the gap left turn into this parking lot. And now here is where I just want to talk about stop signs for a second. So, stop signs are, obviously everybody that has FSD knows this, but the people that don't, right now what they're doing is they're coming to a full stop before the stop sign. They're creeping ahead. They've done a beautiful job in .6 getting rid of the second creep. It used to stop, creep, stop, and then go. Now it just stop, creep, go. But it is the deceleration and the way that it jams on the brakes is so uncomfortable. It is a backbreaker. If you do this 6-8 hours driving Uber, I mean, at the end of the day, your back is just destroyed because it's so violent the way that it comes to that stop. It'll be rolling at 5 miles an hour and then it'll just jam on the brakes. I just wish FSD could come to a stop at a stop sign the way that it comes to a stop at a red light, where it's silky smooth. I mean, better than 60% of human drivers, dare I say more. And just a very silky smooth buttery stop. So how do you get around this? You do the nudge. You just give the gas pedal just a little nudge and it'll roll right through the stop sign. As soon as it's through, you come off the gas and you're back to FSD. Boom. So here we are, decelerating, slowing down. Now here comes the nudge. No stop, no creep, go. Just right on through. As long as it's clear, it'll be okay. And I love how it's hanging in the left side because it knows we've got to shoot up this street. So coming to another stop, right? Instead of the backbreaker, give it a little nudge. Fly through, come off the gas, back onto FSD. And then again, watch these PEDs, right? FSD starts moving before the PEDs are clear of the intersection. I can't tell you how huge this is. This was not a nudge. That's all FSD right there. And it's just one of the beautiful improvements. Here we go. Another stop sign nudge. I mean, look at how you just roll right through that stop sign with just a little nudge on the gas pedal. And here, this is a great example. So, it obviously doesn't like the nudge. And this is an example where it won't go even if you're nudging. Check it out. Coming to a red light. I'm trying to do the nudge. It's not going to let me do it. Right? Why? Because we had a nag. So if you have this situation, you cannot do a nudge into a nag. So here comes the nag. There's the nag. Here comes the nudge. Rejected. Move the steering wheel. Boom. Right back on it. And of course, in typical FSD fashion, it just hauls ass out of this turn and starts flying down the road. Here it is, just killing a roundabout. I mean, the roundabouts are so good in FSD. Just butter smooth through the roundabouts. All right, so here we got a good parking lot illustration and a great example of how, in this version of FSD, the navigation is merely a suggestion. It is not beholden to this whatsoever. It, in fact, oftentimes has a mind of its own. It will go left when it says go right. It really is AI figuring it out on the fly. And this is just a great example of one of those times, I think.
conservative pundit on CNN in this particular instance. I think that's kind of where we're going to see it go.
And right up here at this intersection, it just decides out of nowhere to call a fucking audible. So the navigation, right? The navigation has us going through this intersection up to the next stop sign, which is actually what most people would do. That's the main thoroughfare. That's the main exit point. But however, this, I don't know if it perceived it as a shorter distance. I don't know why it did this, but it did. We hang a right. Check it out.
And the news media can have a bonanza and just let them
Just
loose. Let them keep talking about the war.
okay, I guess we're going right. Stop sign, creep, starts moving before the car's even through. I mean, gotta love that.
We'll keep Biden in the race. You can do it, Joe. You can answer all the questions.
So the navigation's merely a suggestion. It really is,
Kick him out other than a 2015.
Another stop sign absolutely nudged that for sure.
Right.
The primaries are over. Joe has enough delegates to get the nomination if he wants it. They can't do anything about it. There's not enough super delegates, and super delegates at the Democratic conventions don't vote until the second round. But there'll be no second round.
No.
So yes, it's
Nudge right through the right turn. Never came to a full stop there.
He does.
I think it's great.
He's arrogant.
And then here, this is interesting. This has been one of these reoccurring fuck ups. Always trying to get on the freeway. This is Charleston and the 215 out on the west side of Vegas. This lane right here turns into a right turn only lane. And it's 2 right turns to go on to Charleston. If you want to get on the freeway, you have to go 1 more lane left. And this is just something that happens every single time from this lane trying to get on the freeway with FSD. So at this point, it's got the green light. It thinks this is an on-ramp. It isn't. It's a right turn only lane. And because I'm driving an Uber Eats food order, I decided to make a drastic call and get on over. Just an interesting glitch. I don't know why it happens, but it does.
talked to Mimi about it. It was like, it is possible that Joe was Botoxed up.
Oh, what do you mean? He's filled with Botox.
And then here, this is a really tough one. It's we're on the 215 east, 215 going east on the way north side of Vegas. This is the 95 off ramp to go north on 95, and it just totally misses the exit.
Collecting taxes now overdays $8.5 billion in revenue.
I mean, the road's wide open.
Dedicate that money to building drug rehabilitation.
Blinker comes on. It can't seem to program it in for whatever reason, probably because there's a car coming behind us at a high rate of speed. That may have been the issue, but again, hard to know.
That went down a couple of interesting.
And then here's another good one. So this is a 2 left-hand turn lane. We're trying to get back on the 215. You can see in the navigation, the human move would be to get in this lane because you have to get all the way over anyway to get on the freeway. FSD, again, one of these recurring things is it likes to get all the way over in these situations. And if there's other cars, it can be problematic and lead to intervention. But there's nobody around for this one, so I just let it fly. So we come up, in the less than ideal lane. Fast forward through the red light. Here we go. Light turns green. It does a great job of cutting over lanes in almost every instance. So it starts here. Right now we're cutting over, and now we got a bike lane. We got double whites. You can see the navigation cannot make up its mind. It doesn't know what to do. It eventually it makes the right decision, and then we rip on the freeway. But it's just one of these things it's a noticeable reoccurring thing. And then again, here comes the center divider. Both hands on the wheel. I mean, I get nervous as shit in these situations, right? Where it's like it's got very little time left to get over to the correct lane to get on to the freeway. You got a center divider, and we're going to kind of like run right through the middle of it. So, I mean, this is where I get nervous. I go both hands on the wheel, ready to disconnect at any time. And luckily, it makes the right call, and it gets through. All right, this is a really interesting one because it not only fooled FSD, but it also fooled me, the human driver. This is a really tricky one. It's the freeway, and they're adding lanes, and so they just got done adding extra lanes, and so the shoulder is indicated with this yellow line. This is, you know, the indication that the lane is coming to an end. And if I back it up, I think you can actually see the sign. Maybe not. Maybe not. Where? There it is, right there. So that's the, you know, left lane sign. Correct markings coming into it. But here's what happens.
You know, it's just the way it is. I mean, it's like giving somebody a traffic ticket and saying,
It beeps. It wants to get over, right? And then it changes its mind. The yellow line comes all the way through the nav. At that point, I disconnect.
Come on, man.
And I'm driving, and I don't know what the hell just happened, right? I'm thinking, oh, are these lanes open now, and they just haven't painted it? Okay, oh, now the white stripes disappear, and I realize I'm in the shoulder. So just kind of an interesting thing, you know? I mean, it fooled the shit out of me driving into the sun. I don't know what the hell's going on, you know? I'm looking at the Uber Eats app, you know? I just found it fascinating that, you know, I think in the past it would have ridden the yellow line. I think it would have gotten over, but now it's sort of like just making it up as it goes on the fly. There are no rules. It doesn't know what a yellow line is, right? So there's the disconnect.
Come on, man.
And now I'm driving. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm on the shoulder. Here we go.
Oh shit, here we go.
But, you know, just stop for a minute and just, like, think about how insane what they've accomplished is. You know, people, like, it's so hard to find edge cases now of FSD fucking up that it's almost boring, you know? Like, it's so hard to get it into a situation where it comes into a jam. You got to drive for hours and hours, you know? And people are at the point now where they're just sort of taking this for granted. And, you know, I've seen a lot of, like, comments like, oh, it's, you know, it still sucks. It's not anywhere near where it needs to be, you know. Oh, it didn't get stuck. Way to go, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm just like blown away, you know. Like, how can you call this just a car company? I mean, this software is so revolutionary. It's fucking mind blowing. I mean, think about where it's at, dude. I'm doing curb to curb, point to point, parking spot to curb, full Uber Eats orders on FSD right now. And people think that the robotaxi is just a distant dream. I mean, you got to be kidding me. It's this fucking close. And so I just like to show that in these videos. And this is, we're going to end it with a couple of actual full drives. This one's super quick. It's a shop and pay. Coming out of Albertsons, there's Engage the FSD. And this one, I don't do any nudges. I just let it rip and I don't touch a thing. And so we're coming out of the parking lot. And I'm just gonna let it roll. This is the full FSD, curb to curb.
Summers were hot. Nowadays, most of us are spoiled by the luxury of central air, and when we in turn have a lower tolerance for hot weather, the media hysterics don't help. Heat domes, polar vortexes, and all the rest of the shock and awe terms are BS, meant to perpetuate climate fears. There's gambling going on? Summers are
I mean, kind of a dick move here by FSD. I think most humans would have stopped and let them go, but whatever.
Our cold fusion cold brew blend available now through July 4th. Visit Gigawaki. Visit gigawattcoffeeroasters.com. Use code ITM20 for 20% off your order. Stay caffeinated, says Eli, the coffee guy.
MFDX of Anjou 201. And this is just a fascinating donation. For a speedier job search, go to ImageMakersInc.com. ImageMakersInc.com for all your executive resume and job search needs. That's ImageMakers Inc. with a K. Or find Linda Lupatkin, Duchess of Jobs and writer of resumes on the producer list.
Wait a minute, so we now have other producers sending in donations for Linda Lou?
Well, that's what we just witnessed.
I like it. That's interesting. Actually, Linda Lou is somewhat of a phenomenon now. One of our producers did this for her. Linda Lou, she writes great resumes. It's a whole
douched.
I'm so excited about eventually becoming a knight that I named my auto dent repair company, with 2 locations in Austin, Texas and Hudson, Wisconsin, Knight's Hail Repair. That's Knight's K-N-I-G-H-T-S, Hail, H-A-I-L, Repair. So if you get, they need that in Austin, you know, if you get it bad hail in Texas.
Yeah, that's what he says.
I'm sure Adam knows how bad hailstorms are in the hill country, you bet. We can fix dents, big and small, on domestic, foreign, and even electric vehicles. Why would you? Repairs are covered by insurance with no premium increases. So how does that work? On the sly? Please let your listeners know if they contact us or use the discount code ITM Bongino. ITM Bongino, you got a special gift. Knightshail.com. Love is lit. Hope you never find an exit strategy. That's great. We have a garage, luckily, but thank you, man. It's good. I appreciate that.
But how bad do the dents get?
It's so bad that, well,
How bad is it?
people carry heavy moving blankets in the trunk of their car just in case, because it will ruin your car. Although you can go to the dent guy, apparently.
Yeah, obviously.
Knightshail.com and get it fixed, but no, it's a day right.
Okay, I forgot about this. This is a great point, though.
Not want to have your
There's a disconnect. Why? We got a gate. And this is the one thing where it's going to get tripped up with, in terms of like full autonomy or getting grocery deliveries, you know, with nobody driving the car, this kind of thing. How do you get past the gate code conundrum? I mean, what do you got to put an Optimus in the front seat to hit the gate code? Can we integrate a feature on Tesla or the Uber app where you can have a gate buzz function? Does it just pull over and wait for somebody else to go through the gate, like 99% of human Uber drivers, right? Uber Eats. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in a shift where the customer won't put the gate code in. There's no information in the description, and it's a busy gate, luckily. So you just got to sit and wait for a couple of minutes till somebody else comes through. But it is a good like thought experiment in terms of how are they going to solve this particular problem? Because without this obstacle, it's ready.
I just think it's weird. Linda Lupatkin, there she is. She's still here. I thought maybe we should pass it off to the other guy, but no, she's in Lakewood, Colorado, and wants jobs. Karma came with $200. There's no debate about it. For a resume that gets results, go to imagemakersinc.com for all your executive resume and job search needs. That's
FSD goes back on.
Work with Linda Liu, Duchess of Jobs and writer of resumes.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's go, jobs.
And our final associate executive producer with $200 is Mark Hadwick from Aledo, Texas. 200 ITM. Keep it up, Mark Hardwick, Aledo, Texas.
I'll be honest, a little fast for me, for my tastes, going through this neighborhood. But, you know, I think humans go that fast. I wouldn't go that fast, but I think other people would.
Your social media profile, your business cards, your letterhead, in your email signature, and if you want to make it even more official, go to imdb.com and you can open an account if you don't have one already, and you can get yourself listed there as an associate executive producer or an executive producer of the No Agenda Show. You'll see that hundreds, probably, I got to count, but I think it's more than 1,000 people have their credits listed there. And you know, it's whenever
This would be a great place to park without blocking a driveway. FSD decides to block this driveway, but not bad, you know.
what is that? Oh, take a look at some of the other people. There's
It pulls over to the curb, drive is done, voila. And then coming out of here is really good. There's a large group of people with several small children making random movements in the middle of the street, and FSD handles it like a champ and very aggressively, I might add. The other thing, you know, I was trying to do a full drive back, so I would have cut right to it, but it's right around this corner. It's coming up.
So I get it off of YouTube. So I think the web. I don't think CNN knows how to do it. And this would really kind of caught me
A little fast for my taste. I mean, it's pretty fast. But just, it goes to show you the aggression and confidence of FSD right now, at least in 12.3.6.
Okay, now that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange
All right, so here you can start to see the people, right? And then again, look, we got a Jeep, right? And then we got a large group of people. And like, this is a situation in the past where like 11 or prior, it just would have froze. It just would have come and froze and just waited. FSD does something pretty incredible here. It just flies right through all this stuff. Still cooking, 9 miles an hour. Kids making random movements. Still hasn't stopped. We're still rolling. Still rolling. Right? And as soon as it looks like the kids are clearing, look how fast this thing flies. I mean, those are movements that would have really tripped up, you know, a lot of FSDs in the past. And not this one, though, man. It just knows. It knows. It is able to predict movements so well that it knows it's not a critical situation. And I was very impressed. I thought it was awesome. And then the gates. So here's one of these. Here's one of these.
Come on, man.
Situations where you just got to scratch your head, because in 12.4 the gates were going great. The gates were never an issue. And 12.3.6, for some reason, it just struggles getting out of these gates. This is a real close call. A lot of times it won't even turn. It'll turn into a crazy point like it did here, and then it'll just jam up. But we get lucky here. It gets far enough to open the gate. And it looks like it can't make it, you know, and I'm about to take it over. I'm just waiting. I just want to see, what does FSD do? It cranks the wheel. It misses this gate by inches, and it gets through. I mean, you got to love it. All right, so here, this is going to be another full drive, but it's a good Uber Eats point. So it's the end of the night, right? I just need one more run to make my quota, and I want $10. And I do need to go south to get home, right? And so here comes what I like to call the perfect lowball order that you wind up taking when you're driving Uber Eats, right? It's $7. I don't even know way too many miles for $7, but it's going where I need to go. And it's California Pizza Kitchen, which, if you know, in Summerland, they are on it, dude. Like, I've never had to wait for an order there. They're always in the rack, ready to go. You don't need to talk to anybody. You just go in, you grab it. Their parking is so good at this California Pizza Kitchen in downtown Summerlin. They have to-go, short-term parking, which is right next to the to-go door. So it's literally 30 seconds max in and out. And so these are all these pros and cons you got to weigh when you're taking this order. If I wasn't going south, I probably would never take this order. But last order of the night, going where I needed to go. My minimum is $7. I try not to take anything under that unless it's some crazy situation. But so it's just one of these Uber Eats lowest possible order that I wind up taking. But you can always tell when you wait and it pings down and you're like, fuck, do I take this? God damn it. You can hear me tapping and thinking, and I'm running out of time, Fuck it.
Oh shit, here we go.
You can hear me go. All right, so full drive, right? FSD comes on from the parking spot, and I'm just going to shut up and let it roll.
Just how much memory that's usable for their matrix operations. So, I think that we're going to see a lot of new use cases show up for this stuff, but I think it extends well beyond AI as well. And it's going to be a lot more useful for things like scientific computing. One of the things that has me really excited is the computational fluid dynamics. And I'm specifically thinking about the uses for that in F1 under the new regulation in 2026. I'm excited for the new platform. I think in a year and a half, people are going to be using it for things that are different than anybody expects today. And that's, to me, the pace at which this is changing is the piece that's really cool.
Wait, I'm sorry, I hate sports. What's the F1 2026 thing?
It's displaying how the NVIDIA is. Yeah, so the F1 platform, they have very tight restrictions around what type of compute and how much compute you can use to do aerodynamic testing in your cars. And you can either do real-life testing in a wind tunnel, or you can do it through CFD analysis. And the regulations around the existing program in F1 they're only able to use CPUs. They have very specific limitations around it, but there's been a lot of talk of that changing for the 2026 car models, and I'm gung-ho excited about possibly supporting that.
Gung-ho excited. That's $1 trillion investment.
Gung-ho excited.
Gung-ho
what?
excited.
I didn't understand what he was design, move something left and right.
But that's not even that's the point. It's not even AI. So this is the best they can come up with CoreWeave? Oh, we can make Formula One cars go faster. Okay. And then the viral clip this week regarding AI came from the CEO of Microsoft AI, Mustafa Suleyman.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you got this clip.
This is worth discussing.
With respect to content that is already on the open web, the social contract of that content since the 90s has been that it is fair use. Anyone can copy it, recreate with it, reproduce with it. That has been freeware, if you like. That's been the understanding.
Freeware.
There's a separate category where a website or a publisher or a news organization had explicitly said, do not scrape or crawl me for any other reason than indexing me so that other people can find that content. That's a gray area, and I think that's going to work its way through the courts.
Of the original, and it's all legal. To take the entire web, which is he implies, the entire thing is all public domain and all fair use is bull crap. But where does he get this idea? It's just this is going to be used against him in a court of law.
This statement, in fact, and just
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He's going to get burned by what he did. That clip.
Every single MP3 we release has in its ID3 tags a copyright. They're a large publisher in the Netherlands for taking my pictures off of Flickr.
You can't do that.
Which I published under Creative Commons, which was distribute, share alike, no commercial. And they lost, and I won. And I'm still hoping for the day they do it again, because then I get to charge them 5,000 euros for every copy, for every day it's in circulation. But
that'd be great.
That's an exit strategy right there. No, that's not happening. But I just thought it was what a horrible take from that guy.
But he obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. And Microsoft has a huge team of legal experts that he should have at least consulted.
Yeah.
Before he made that comment that everything on the web is
freeware,
free fair use. Are you kidding me?
He said it's freeware under the social contract.
Yeah, freeware. And I should mention, you said we put the copyright notice on it. People still do that, but that is actually
not even needed. You don't even have to do it.
As of a number of years ago, and I don't remember when, but it's probably 20 years ago. It turns out that anything you publish, whether you put the copyright notice on it or not, is copyright.
We need to rule out to be sure that it's not being spread asymptomatically, because the foreign workers are moving from herd to herd. They go from ranch to ranch, for example. So that's data that the CDC is just starting, and it's good to see this. It's good to see them on top of this. We need to be doing more of this. I'm glad we can report on this, that things are happening finally.
Yeah, things are happening finally. Oh, yeah. Can we get to a pandemic? Come on, boys. Do some work here. Remember what Redfield said? Former CDC director. Oh, no. Next bird flu is going to come from the lab, from gain of function.
Well, that's what McCullough says, too. He says they're already working on it. That's where the mallards got it.
So the CDC is now recommending everyone aged 6 months and older, hurry now, don't wait while stocks last, get an updated 2024-2025 COVID-19 vaccine. And I'm just thinking, if you really wanted to do something with bird flu, the one thing we know about the vaccine, the one thing we know for sure, I think you will agree with me, everyone who got the vaccine definitely got COVID.
Seems so.
So what if you just put a little bird flu proteins in there?
Well, there's precedent for this. And we had it on the show. There's probably a clip, if you can find it. Probably you can't find it. Maybe you can. This one of the vaccine manufacturers during the swine flu pandemic of some years ago was distributing a swine flu vaccine with live swine flu viruses in the vaccine. They were caught and shut down, but this was going on, and it created swine flu outbreaks here and there out of the blue.
Let me see if this is the one.
It is one of the greatest medical scandals of the century, according to a leading health expert in Brussels. The Council of Europe Health's chief has accused major pharmaceutical firms of organizing a campaign of panic and unduly influencing World Health Organization decisions. And with European countries now burdened with bills for millions of unwanted doses of the swine flu vaccine, he wants an investigation. Our science correspondent...
Okay, so this is not great here. You can see the lane is ending. You even got a sign, right lane ends. And FSD just keeps cooking right into the shoulder.
Come on, man.
Not yet, but coming up.
Bird flu agents like this, well, I don't know if it's even illegal to suggest that they might do this, because it seems it's like you're creating.
We're just kooky. We're just podcasters. Pay no attention.
There we go. There's the blinker. Right over the white line. Into the shoulder. We got to make a right turn here coming up, but I mean, dude, this is so dangerous because every one of these inlets, if you're making a left, you have to creep out into this to be able to see, and FSD is just flying through all of these to get the job done. So not great, but didn't have to disconnect. So
come on, man.
An outdoor movie.
All right, second half of
You know about the monolith? There's the PBS report.
Oh goodness, the monolith is back. New location.
And a new chapter in an unsolved mystery. Las Vegas police said they removed a tall monolith from a remote part of the Nevada desert. They said the 6'4" structure was a public safety and environmental hazard. Just how it got there is anybody's guess. It's the latest in a series of mysterious monolith placements around the world since 2020, including in the Democratic Republic of Congo and in Turkey. The Nevada...
But there you go. I mean, that's a curb to curb, full drive, no interventions on a real Uber Eats order. I mean, the future's here. It's now. It's not going to take that much to get this thing, to really start to cook. And I'm just super excited about it. I think it's awesome. And yeah, I just don't see a lot of Uber Eats drives in Teslas with FSD. There's a lot of FSD testing videos. There's a lot of Uber Eats videos. So my goal with these is to try to combine the two because, you can plug in random waypoints and do FSD testing videos, but, I'm like, this is the best way, I think, one of the best ways to just get the randomness of you don't know where you're going, right? And can FSD figure it out, and all the gates that you hit and the construction, just randomly doing these runs, at least in Vegas anyway. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, until next time.
Just clap for that, you stupid bastards.